Shout out to Malachi. How you doing, Malachi?
I say a lawyer, prison lawyer, and I got black men around the table, and we're gonna talk community. First, I'm gonna let these gentlemen introduce themselves, and then we're gonna check in.
My name is Todd Gramins. I run Black Lives Matter. We also I'm president of Black Lives the Streets, born and raised in St. Paul, on the east side of St. Paul.
My name Lil Chain, or you can just call me Chain Swang. I'm a rapper from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I'm the CEO of Mastermind Radio, LLC.
So as you can see, we got black men who are positive influence in our community. And what we want to do today is bring community to this table, and we want to talk about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And we also want to educate those individuals out there, because a lot of these gentlemen, they're way younger than I am, and they're doing positive things in the community. They're really making some waves. So let's just check in. I'm gonna check in first and just talk about, first thing I want to sort of talk about, my week, how my week's been. My week's been super good, phenomenal. First and foremost, I met these brothers, these good positive brothers, politicking the network. And I told y'all this year is all about networking. Build on my network is my net worth. You understand me? So I've been working on that. But I also was kind of upset about that whole cartel thing that happened over in Texas and stuff. So I was following that as much as I could. I know it's some interworkings to the story. I really don't want to get into it, but it just bothered me like how underplayed that story was. There was some white girl over there. They would have called out the national troops, and you know what I'm saying. They probably would have turned Mexico into the United States. You know what I'm saying. You feel me? But that's just how I feel. Turn it over to my man.
Real talk. No, my week was straight. You know what I'm saying? It's been busy. It's Saturday now, so it's just been a week full of business, but at the same time, we got a lot of work to do. We done had 2-3 rallies this week. You know what I'm saying? We keep having African-American men killed by police, brutality, other brothers killing each other, and it's really that time to talk about it. This week, next week, every day.
Well, my week been good. I just been focused on building myself up. I've been seeing all the mess that's been going on the news. Basically the same thing.
All right, so this is basically where I want Todd to tell us. He was talking to me earlier about this situation that happened a few years ago about this gentleman over in Romsdale. That situation, it missed me in the news and what's going on. But I just want you to bring our viewers up to speed to what's really going on with that demonstration.
Yeah, so there's this young king named Khalil Azad who was killed by police. Police still not actually truly coming out saying, like, being honest, they denying it. But what happened was, and why the community's so upset right now, is that in July 2022, he was getting chased by police. He crashed into a tree. He got out, he ran, he had friends in the car. But at the whole time before all of this whole year done passed, police have been denying having any wrongdoing or even knowing who Khalil was. Then all of a sudden, it's been so long, it's like, okay, now it's coming up on a year. Let's make some moves on it. And then all of a sudden, the BCA takes over the case. Well, hold on. Anytime there's a police involved killing, BCA should have took it over already right away. Like, what is you waiting a year for BCA? You missing evidence.
Yeah.
You missing. So how deep we is in the fight right now, we can set them up and then drain out the truth. So that's what we catching right now. And so that's why we'll always have something to talk about, like Black Lives Matter. Like, oh, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. Now hold on. Let's talk about it. When we running from police, or if we decide just not to comply, it's like they get to do whatever they want to us.
Right.
And that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's not okay. That's not cool. There's nothing. There's still state statutes that even if you run from law enforcement, they can't shoot you in the back. They can't gun you down.
It's a lot of cases with a lot of people that resist from the police, and they arrest them safely.
Man, motherfuckers got pistols. What is you talking about?
The only person that gets shot is the black man.
They come in active shooters. They say active. You have a better chance of living if you're an active shooter. You got a gun and a pistol, you got the whole place stuck up, than being a black man getting pulled over in a car. So just stop. Go ahead and stop that. It's blue right here. That's a good conversation.
Get involved in like doing podcasts and interviews with and working with different people, on the underground scene in Minnesota, because I done connected with a lot of people on the underground scene in Minnesota, doing open mics and stuff, So I know some major people that's doing their thing out here.
What I'm trying to do is build community. You know what I'm saying? Network, build community, and have individuals like ourselves be like my man was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Just we want to like when it comes to like certain things. Like I'm from Chicago, so it's like you come on deck, you gonna see somebody, you gonna talk to somebody, you gonna check in, right? And we got to start establishing our community. We just talking about community, how community is so messed up with these young cats coming up. But a lot of it is due for us being leaders, not being present or removing ourselves from there, or being like, man, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? However we feel, it's not the same connectivity we had back like 20, 30 years ago, where cat could come to you and be like, I'm an OG. Get yourself together now. You know what I'm saying? Don't have me come back on here and slide on you. Yeah. You understand?
Right.
All right, my man, Blue. Right. How you doing?
Going on with you, black man?
Yeah, just chilling, man. Good to see you, man. That finally made it. Yeah, it snowed, rain, sleet, or snow.
Oh, yeah, snow, man, out there.
Yeah, I know. We almost wiped out coming up here.
Yeah,
it's like, man, so
that's why in your front and brother in the front, he with an ice pick trying to get the road together.
Oh, for real?
He pulled like right in front of here. They got some, I think, and they 2 blocks up, they got a car just stalled right hitting the right. Somebody left their car because they couldn't get out the
demo.
Oh,
yeah.
I caught him flat out there.
Make sure you get him. Make sure you got Blue in.
And it's tight.
Man, it's like they don't want us. They don't want us to progress.
That's man, it's funny. They were saying about the potholes. I said, man, if you ever been to Chicago, man, I'll take these potholes 10 times over. I said,
the Chicago, they go, yeah.
Man, half of the street, bro. Half of the street be like, bro. I ain't never seen it until I got to the Charlotte. People literally be on the sidewalk.
First time I went to Chicago, I felt it when I had some gloves real thick, and I could still feel it. My hands were still frostbitten.
Really?
Like, man,
y'all Windy City.
How y'all make it?
I got stories. How it look, Ron?
It went a good, boy.
We good?
I've been recording.
Oh, you been recording?
I've been recording.
I'm gonna have let Blue introduce himself. Back to Blue. We go ahead. We just checking in, introducing ourselves, telling people who we are, and then just checking in how the week been for you, things like that.
Yeah, well, nothing too special for myself, man. My name is Drew. Brother. A lot of gentlemen call me Blue, man. Just a teacher myself, man. Working in the community, working 3rd grade currently. Working with the babies, man. The kids are doing fantastic. they needing everything that we always needed. Love, consideration, care, and support. And so, just putting my hands in that work. But then meeting with brothers to continue to add more pieces to the plate. Add more pieces to the puzzle. And add more steps. So it's just about diligent work. Just diligent. Just trying to stay diligent, man. Like got that mama mentality, like Kobe said. 1% every day. I think I heard a young brother who was playing for Villanova. No, not Villanova, K-State. I think my man, he was 100 He was 186 pounds or something like that, and he used to be 150 something pounds. He said when they told me I couldn't be a Division I running back, they told me, he said I'm 5'6". They told me I couldn't be Division I. He showed him in the workout. He showed him on the day. He said, man, he said I weigh 190 pounds. He said I'll show you at the Columbine. And he was talking about, hey, it's a dude who ran for almost 2 bands, in a college season. He like. So basically, he like, but he had that Kobe mentality. I just put the work in ever since high school. He said, as soon as I heard that, it just became a work thing. It became a sweat equity thing. And so that's all, man.
My brother Todd was bringing up to speed on that this Robbinsdale case that they're really trying to figure out what's going on with these police. If you want to just bring us up to speed on that.
Yeah, the Khalil Azad. You heard about it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody. So yeah, just with that whole case, you know what I'm saying? Earlier this week, Wednesday, there was a protest outside of Robbinsdale Police Department. You know what I'm saying? We raised some noise there, blocked off traffic, and then on this we was just at the Capitol. But what I told the family is like, it's y'all that's gonna bring this change. You understand? We have all these other cases, right? What if we took a case to trial? Where that black family gonna stand on this 10 toes down and take a case to trial? Stop settling.
Right.
Everybody want to keep settling.
Well,
take the cash.
Yeah.
Take the cash.
Yeah.
Get the cash. Get
Yeah.
the family out the hood. Take
Yeah.
care of the family.
Yeah.
We need somebody. I believe that the Khalil family would be a perfect family to stand their ground. There needs to be a bill in his name, not 100 other names. His name, releasing that body cam footage like the BCA do. That has to come to an end. They can't be editing that video.
Right.
So in that Khalil Azad bill would say something like, police officers after a police involved killing, you can no longer, the BCA cannot edit the film. Mm-hmm. They have to release it raw. Right. All audio, all video.
Right.
When we kids in school and we learning, this is what we learn to learn how to then get in and fix it then. Mm-hmm. We not going to learn how to read and write, understand English to not come out here and help our community watching and living in the environment we crashed in. So we have to use our knowledge as black men to unify, to really uplift, and that's how his voice got uplifted. He was dead a year ago. It's through community that talk about it, that uplift it. For sure. To make sure it stay on these people conscious, like, okay, he crashed into a tree, he got out, he ran. No one found him. His family didn't find him. They was in the car, so the police pulled him over and let them go. So they in the car, they still looking for him. They can't find him, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. 2 days later, they find this man in Robbinsdale in the lake, dead. Mm-hmm. So like he went missing after he ran from police. Now he dead. And so that's what I'm saying is like ironically enough, we have to understand that in this fight, it's a kind of a dual-edged sword because we got our own situations we already navigating. And with us beefing with each other, it gives police and then he was running, he was a thug, all this, boom, bop, and then they able to get us like that. And like, so as men, especially black men, it's important that we start educating our youth on how to interact with these ops, these police, even if you did run, where, you know what I'm saying, like we have to have an agenda underneath. Like if you was running, you knew you was gonna have to run, we need to have an app or something where it's like, boop, all your family, the whole hood, the whole emergency, crack that, pull up with a camera. You know what I'm saying? Like he missing. If we had had something like that, right? Then when George Floyd died, then we all could have swarmed on that and been like, oh, let's all look for him. You know what I'm saying? He ran from police, he might have got hurt. No. Then we come together, unify, and come into it like that. See, but we got too many fake people in here. They don't even want these solutions. They ain't trying to come to this kind of solution. All it took was a brother like you, come network with the community, talking about network everything, and then you're going to start cracking all kinds of doors. But that's what God has set, and it ain't going to be no white folks to help us do it. It's going to be brothers to do it. It's going to take us to take back community.
When we do act out the way that we do in our neighborhood as far as like killing each other and stuff, the whole world, you got to remember the whole world see that. Everybody across the world see how we can act the fool, in our own neighborhoods instead of coming together and doing what
the question has always been is why we doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we looked into community. We talk about community all day long, and when I was coming up, they was like, y'all bad, y'all out of control. And then, as I come back, I look back, y'all bad, y'all out of control. But and then it's the elders looking at saying, oh man, I ain't gonna tell him nothing. He too hard headed. He ain't gonna listen. But it's just like doing like my guy Blue do. You gotta teach the babies. You know what I'm saying? I seen this brother. We going up to chop it up to go meet and politic. These cats riding around in the motherfucking car they ain't supposed to be in. He go slide on them like, man, bro, y'all might want to get from over here. You know what I'm saying? Just being that elder in the community that, like the problem I see with a lot of things in the community is like you got one elder that's a Negro. He's working with these people. He's getting money from these people. You know what I'm saying? He's working hand in hand with them. And then you got the other brothers, you know what I'm saying, that's trying to bring wisdom and knowledge to the set. But these brothers don't even have an edge in the community anymore because nobody want to listen to no OGs no more. They know everything.
That's what I was gonna say. They head too hard. They don't be want to listen to it. Anything that you talking about uplifting and doing good, it goes in one ear and out the other.
Right.
Doing the wrong thing is cool.
Well, yeah.
That's what we have been taught in our community, or rather we be promoting in our community that the bad things is cool, bad things is good, but the good things lame, you know what I'm saying? Because that's everybody that's in my neighborhood that I done grew up with. Man, let's go do this or let's go do that,
Well, you're a musician, you're an artist. What are you doing? How's your music? How's your music different than what's being put out there? You got positive message in there.
I mean, when I rap, I don't just like promote like doing gangster stuff. I kind of like do like the rappers did like in the early 90s, type of rap stuff.
Telling a story?
I'm telling a story about what I done went through, hoping that somebody out there can relate to what I'm going through or what I done went through or what I done did. Mm-hmm. But I don't, when I do talk about, shoot this, shoot that, it ain't in the context of saying like, you need to go do it or that's cool. It's more like a self-defense thing if somebody try, because as long as you live in the world, somebody gonna try you.
Well, yeah,
somebody gonna test you like.
I was just saying like they understand how positive music is and how music can influence individuals. Just think about it though. Think about how like when rap music first came out, it was positive.
Yeah. It
was nothing to do with anything but just getting on the mic, just clowning people. You know what I'm saying?
That's our culture right there. So it kind of like messed me up when I hear the older generation saying that we need to ban rap music or we need to cut rap music or forget hip hop and this blues and well, even back when they was doing blues, you always had the black man. We always been smooth the way we talk.
Yeah.
We always rhyme words together when we talk,
Well, I was just talking about just how the music went from something that was super not so much positive, but it was community based. It was cats in the neighborhood. It was beefing on records or whatever they was doing, and then all of a sudden you seen a transformation. After Pac and them left, and even when Biggie, he wasn't all positive, but he kept it like above board. Now you get all this stuff. I mean, I don't know how many times they say nigga, and how many times you need to.
You have the West Coast to blame for that. To be honest with you, not saying anything bad about the West Coast, but you have the West Coast to blame for that because that's their culture, the whole gang culture over there. So you got gangster music that come from that way. You know what I'm saying? Well, no, I think New York they used to beef with the West Coast a little bit. They would throw like I remember this one dude that made a diss track about how they killing over colors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, no, you're accurate in regard. I think one of the things to your point, brothers, is the narrative in terms of for African Americans is we don't control our own narrative.
That's
a huge part of what y'all are talking about in regard to us being empowered or doing something about what we're concerned with in regard to, like you said, trying to use the babies and the message that we're getting. A lot of the stuff one thing that's in terms of black folks, black people are not just just black folks, we represent the whole culture for everybody. And so when you're the standard, you know, and so that's the whole thing. It's like, it's hard to, when you, especially you're African American and you feel downtrodden about yourself, you have a conscious thing, you don't have a whole narrative or you have a limited narrative. And so when most of us have that, it's hard to really understand, like, well, no, African Americans are the most popular people in China and in Australia and England. We're like, this plight is in every country that we're in terms of, and then the way that they use violence, or they use, like we talked about, the co-opting of music, or the way that they use music, or they use entertainment to show us, to the general masses, that is how we get into why black people, when reality is white people, white on white crime, people who are in proximity of, you're the most people to commit crime. So Native American, indigenous, no matter, you know, whether if you're Chinese and you stay in Chinatown, if you're Somali, you know what I mean? And so it's same with policing. It's like, well, policing, white people in the suburbs, there's just as many, you know, and last year was the most deadliest year in United States history in terms of police killings. And most of those was white folks. You know what I mean? But the narrative, once again, if white folks aren't making that and they're not in the streets, and black folks, that's what our concentration is what happened with Brother Clay, and we're on the streets and we're making our aim, then that's where the concentration is going to be. And so, you know, there is a duality between the narrative that they want us to focus on, and the narrative that is going to allow us to control the focus. And so, to y'all brothers, a point, you know, like you kind of talking about in terms of the rap music, you know, they make the state say, hey, it's gonna make it an East Coast, West Coast thing, as you know, but anybody know, Midwest, anybody who messes with Twister and, you know, Do or Die and them boys, or anybody, you know what I mean, or anybody who know Master P or them boys, you know, you gonna say, well, no, obviously P had just as much to do with, as much as Pop did, or you know what I mean, and you gonna give the rapper live record, you gonna say, well, damn, no, Scarface, and like you said, but you know, and all, as you know, all the brothers rap about the same kind of thing.
Master P and Scarface, they was more reality rap. It wasn't so much of like, you know, yeah, I'm a gangster trying to brag about it. They was just talking about the reality that they thought that they seen around them. Niggas getting shot on the block, you know, and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But
not to cut you off, but the one thing you look at Master P, when you look at Master P and them, they look at them as being businessmen. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? He's the one that took that record label, his record label, brought Snoop Dogg over there, brought all of them over there, brought them all over there, gave them the opportunity to make money, but not get stuck in these contracts, these crazy ass contracts. I mean, he did a lot for the business. It's just what he showed me was entrepreneurship, how it looks for a black man to own his own record company. You know what I'm saying?
I respect Master P for what he did, because he a real hustler in my eyes. Like, it takes a lot to really just do something underground and really just, you know, make yourself a big deal like that.
Bro, make them come to you. Make them come to your table. Make you come. Like, that's why that's why we sat down and started I Got Something to Say. Because I feel like, you know, with what's going on right now, I could go out and go get me a Charleston White. We talked about Charleston White in the car. Go out and get me a Charleston White, put him on this platform and get 100,000 views. This idiot saying some foolish ass shit. But take a man, I say all these black men sitting around the table got something important to say that should be heard, that could change somebody's lives. But don't nobody want to watch it. They want to go sit there and listen to this fool talk about bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
People want to be entertained. That's the same
but
thing.
Yeah, okay, you want to be entertained, but it's just like you want to play all day. You can't play all day. You got to go to work, right? The motherfuckers want to come and play all day. It's like you want to sit back and laugh and scroll through your Facebook and all that other shit. See bras with, you know, fat ass, you know, all that other crazy ass shit. But when do we? That's what goes back to community. When do we actually get up and come men? When do we actually start taking care of business? You know what I'm saying? When do we do that? So you don't want to hear me telling you that you might want to get your credit score up, bro. You might want to work on that credit score. You might want to go get your checking account, partner. You know, all that money you got in the shoebox, all that shit look cool though, but you can't use that shit, bro. And that's what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying?
That's when it comes to being around like-minded people.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's what we got. That's why I brought y'all to the table.
You got to get a group of like-minded people and go from there. Leave the fools behind.
Right, but to go to your point is that the fools are the ones they putting on. Like Charleston White came to Minnesota and said that same bogus ass shit he been saying. George Floyd should have fought. Fuck George Floyd.
How you gonna fight with a nigga on your neck?
I'm not even questioning whether he should have fought or not. How you gonna tell a man who's being killed what the fuck he's supposed to do? Man, that's like me pulling a gun on him and be like, man, Joe, you should have did more, Joe.
Or a man who's obviously dead, assassinated. But no, to y'all point, brothers, it goes back to that once again, who's controlling our narrative.
Straight
You know what
up.
I mean? And like y'all said, about, like you said, the so when we talk about P, like you said, as y'all know, P got that from his grandfather passed away, and that was 50 bands, 20 bands or 50 bands. And like you said, and he flipped it and did, but obviously, like y'all know, P had multiple businesses, put his whole family on, but like to y'all point, it's hard to when the babies only know drill music or they only know, when I was young, like I said, we talked about this before, I've been with the gang since I was 12. But my OG who put me in, he told me, Drew, when you doing this work, if you get caught, if you get behind the wall, then that's when you get the tattoo because you earn that shit. But when you out here, keep your stuff. So I don't have the tattoo because I never want to get identified. You know what I'm talking about? Just because that's how I got it lit in, you know what I mean? Right. And so, when I see the young babies, it's like part of the programming is being identifiable, you know what I mean? Because it's like off the strength, I'm going to see you, my guy, off the strip, you know what I mean? And so, it's once again not talking about expression or not talking about people don't live your life or you don't have that, but it's part of the program when, like you said, why is it in 2023 we still calling each other niggas and bitches? Sure. It's because once again, you see Somali people, Asian people, Hispanic brothers and sisters calling each other what? Niggas nowadays.
But they give it to them.
That's why
you had that.
That's the point, big bro. It's because once again, give me 100% King. Because if we are the people who created that culture, right? But then we can have people co-opt $1 billion culture, and then we can put Justin Bieber, we can put like people coming out M and stuff, and people coming out all, and you see more love the Latinx, but love all the different variations of rappers that we have nowadays. But that's because what? If you don't study the history and say, well, no, Master P, like you're saying, we weren't coming out. That's not why we did that. That's not what we were calling niggas. But if you could come out and now you could have somebody who ain't never been in a struggle come out and be like, nigga, what up with it? Blah, 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 blah.
Tattoos and everything.
You know?
Yeah.
Then you have the narrative to get us to be out here spinning on the block doing dumb shit.
And we still out here, instead of being like, you got more dudes who got bread, more dudes who got more hustles, more people who understand them. But like you said, we can't get our own because you literally creating the money. They're creating the money, so that's why they created the money. Because if you have everything, King, intrinsically, you need something on the outside to make you not feel how you feel. Because as you know, Michael Jordan felt the way he felt because what was going on between their head. Kobe's mentality was about what he thinking, you know what I'm talking about? It's about, as y'all know, it's that little bit, but if you can get somebody to say, well, hey, that's your enemy. That's not your brother. Right. That's your enemy. Regardless of what you look like, regardless of how you 98% the same. No, that 2% we're gonna focus on.
I want to capitalize off of that real quick. I want to say something because when I was in the joint, I used to have cats come up to me and be like, nigga. I'll be like, man, hold up, man. Don't call me no nigga. I'm not a nigga. I want to be your brother because I know how you treat a nigga and I know how you treat a brother. Yeah. So I want you to treat me like a brother. You know what I'm saying? You treat niggas like shit, right? You know what we do with, you know what I'm saying? So call me your brother. And I would check brothers at the door. I don't care what they was standing on or anything like that. Don't call me no nigga. You know what I'm saying? So just with that, the reason I can kill you now, because you're not my brother, you a nigga. That's why we do it. That's why we do what we do.
That's some subliminal things.
That's exactly.
That's why I be saying, like, how can we as a people ask for respect from other races of people when we don't even respect them and respect ourselves? You know what I'm saying? But as far as saying the N-word, for me, I use the N-word as, in terms of saying man, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, hey Nick, it's the same thing for me, I guess, because I grew up in a hood setting. I've been in the hood all my life, so that's how I am.
But you ain't live in no hood. You live in the community first, brother. And then on top of that, whether or not, you got to understand, like, you need to be taught the historical understanding of utilizing that word. Because I never use, that's like me taking the word shit, calling him shit, and making him accept the word shit, and be like, no, it don't mean shit, bro. It means something else different, having it accepted. Like, go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
I ain't understood when the Mexicans used to say Negro. I thought they was calling me a nigga one day. I was having a meeting with St. Tool about the minimum wage because we was having a meeting and talking. They kept on calling me Negro. I was like, dang, he calling me a nigga, ain't it? But what I learned was it means black in Spanish.
Yeah.
So it made something click in my mind. Like they took a word from them and made it something.
No. That's your history. That's your history, bro. But you gotta understand that
White folks took their word and tried to make it something a racist slur towards us, but really.
Let me explain something to you.
Hispanics didn't talk to us. Well, yeah, I see what he was saying.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, you're not a Negro, bro. You understand? Negro, that's a river somewhere. Black is a color.
Yeah.
You all these other things, you ain't nothing. You all that stuff Watch the story. Watch the episode where I talked to Brother Lavelle. He started talking about Moorish Americans and who we truly are. You understand?
Yeah, we native to this language.
Yeah, we the first. We are the natives.
To further your point, here's look at in 2023. Why did they come out with the word BIPOC and POC?
Come on,
Once
man.
again,
Come
because
on,
look
man.
at it, like you said, if you don't know you from the continent, and then you come over here and they call you a nigger, or they call you a Negro, and they call you colored, and then we become niggas, and then they say no. In order for
us,
here's the best, like you said, King. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but the best part about that is most people, culturally they get it, but they don't understand that all has
folks in New Orleans.
That all has to do with financing. When you talk about
definitely.
when we tore up the cities, when we revolted, and you talking about them putting billions of dollars in funding, and so we need you on the schools, we need you in departments, we need you in public office, we need you in these spaces. When we design granting and loans, we put the word BIPOC and POC, so a person who doesn't understand the plight the way you do can slide into your position using I'm a colored person instead of understanding the dichotomy like an African American does. And so that term is a politicization of people who have actually paid their dues and saying that's why if you see plenty of brothers like our sisters who say, well, now we're going to open it up for, any kind of, if you're a stud, you can step into a male position. If you open up the dichotomy of people who have different sexual orientations to the privileges of what you simply are as a man or as a woman. You were born into, but that's how you politicize the same thing they did. They said, well, no, in the community, if you talk certain ways, other religions, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, if you're a Muslim, they don't have no problem saying, well, no, a man and a woman are together. But if you're in the black community,
say that if you want.
Once again, like I said, so that's the same thing. Why politicization? That's why, nigga, the word we use, all this stuff is because they literally. That's why they talk about the media being the fourth leg of the government. They talk about us, the mission. That all is for us to not have these conversations because, like I said, if it's like sisters, when I'm the same thing with sisters. I don't call people niggas, but when I see a sister, right, and she get to calling her homegirls bitches, it lets me know what kind of sister she is.
Right,
once again, depending on what you want to do with the sister, that's how you gonna activate. You know what I mean? Right. But once again, that's to the point. You know what I mean? If you must,
so like y'all conscious, you know what I'm saying? And now when you saying that, now you on this whole intellectual path where we going with it. Then you gotta try to identify this. Dude wrote a book called Sucker Ducking, and it's certain shit like that. But as y'all trenching through it, and what homie saying, like my point of view on the word nigga. Like first of all, white folks done traumatized, beat us up, we niggas, this, that, and the third. I embrace that word nigga. I'm a nigga. I know I'm uneducated, ignorant as hell, whoop somebody's ass right now, go crazy, and now we supposed to do what? How are we supposed to coddle this stereotype? Mm-hmm. We can't never run from it, and we just gotta, oh no, we're not gonna say nigga no more. I'm never gonna get to the top and then be like, cause in me, and just in who I am, in this small time I've been on this earth, I can't never, but what I've changed is, like, when you come to the hotel or you boom in that mix, I say king.
Yes, sir.
I say king and queen.
Yes, sir.
So now there's this different thing, but even then it still ties back to slave shit. Because when you talk to people who read the Quran, you don't call them a king, you call them chief. So there's all these different, the Moors, they say, why you say nigga? When I finally explained to him why I'm a nigga, he understood. Mm-hmm. He like, I'm going back to Canada. I got more shit than him. I got more land than you. I got more head. Like, so it's a purpose for us. It's a purpose for our wording. It's a purpose underneath it all. I probably ain't never gonna stop saying nigga. My kids is little niggas. They gonna turn up to be niggas. But we do need to change it. I would agree that in a reality of a function to change to, okay, a round table, niggas, educated, unified, I'll change my wording. Until we get our black community to step up and really be on it, and not just Minnesota, I'm talking around the world, around all this way. But it start with OGs like you. I know you older than me. I know you older than me. I know bro older than me. I know you probably around my age. We need our people, especially OGs, to step up, bro.
Yes, sir.
And really, like how you dropping that knowledge. This why it's a nigga situation. This why it's that. You know what I'm saying? So as then we go, you from a neighborhood. Stop saying hood. And that's true too. Because it's a whole nother situation. Now, granted, when we say on neighborhood, it's other niggas, gangs and shit tied under that word. You know what I'm saying? So some people will never play on that word. So if you on another side of town, they not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So as young motherfuckers come into the mix, identifying everything. Because we got phones, we got access to shit, and we grew up in a generation of time that we being watered down with bullshit and fake news and the media being that fourth leg of the government manipulating our people, and hence why we still ain't got no change in not in the prison system, not no police brutality, and we still in the same position trying to buy more. Food prices done jumped up. We all still trying to go through this thing.
Food anyway.
We should have been done. Did that a long time ago. Started, community gardens But am I the only person to been in prison at the table?
Yeah, I ain't been to prison.
Okay, so I want y'all to hit me. I'm probably oldest cat at the table. I don't look it, but I am. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
Okay. Well.
I'm just fucking with y'all. I want y'all for real on everything I love. I want y'all to tell me how y'all was able to circumvent the system, keep y'allself out of the joint. And, I'm not trying to say I made a mistake, but I did make a mistake. I understand my conviction, but the conviction made me who I am today. So I'm not sliding for it, but I want y'all to tell me what y'all did.
What I did, growing up on the east side of St. Paul, I grew up on Margaret and Cypress. That's where my crib was, 993 Margaret Street. We always used to be on Beach and Cypress. We ran that store on Cypress and 7th Street right there. That was our store. So, before they changed it all over. So now, in that mindset, just being young, 10, 11, 12, 13, just on the block, then they like, you fast, you got talent, you got gifts, you got this, you know what I'm saying? You getting down on shit, you doing what we asked, we doing shit. And just OGs, Crips, GDs, shit like that, all through the east side of St. Paul. But then I asked them, most of them will go to prison and all this other shit, like, oh, you went to prison? Oh, I'll come up to you. What would you tell me? A young nigga finna come up, what would you tell me? The first thing they'll say is keep going to school, get your education.
Yes, sir.
Number 2, believe in God and Jesus. That was all they would tell me. And then it would be one thing if I got one story from one story from the other. Okay, I'm asking the moles. I don't even fuck with the moles. But then we was asking everybody. We was asking everybody. It didn't matter for me because I'm cool with Selby, I'm cool with Eastside, I'm cool with GBG, I'm cool with Ham Crazy, I'm cool. They run Stillwater, you know what I'm saying? God of War, my little cousin got put in the shade. He the only one lift it up, bucket that down. And that's why all the lows get kicked over to Rush City. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit real life though. So I ain't never been there because I don't have to go. I could get a motherfucker touching that motherfucker right now by anybody. So it's like, as a black man in this country and we unify, you talking about unity, it's about being able to move. And then I can go over north and sit on 38 and 36 and Penn till 3 in the morning, 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. because they see that passion, that drive. And when you can relate with a real person and you have that kind of solution, these fake activists could never have this solution. Right. Like how you brought this to the table and we pondering this idea. These voices, my voice never be heard. It never will be heard. I don't care if my voice heard. I'm past that. We past that. And so that's what I learned coming into it is, okay. And then they came up to me, I real recognized real. I remember Tupac saying that because when I was 6 years old, I watched Tupac get killed on TV. So then I went into elementary, kindergarten, learned about Martin Luther King. I'm like, hold up, they whacking us? They killing us even when we nice.
Right.
Oh, hold on. So then for me, it was just like, I got to get out here and fight for my people. Like, I know I'm finna be straight. And then Then I went to college. You know what I'm saying? I got a degree in economics. I got a degree in finance, management, economics, because of the OGs kept telling me, you got any problems over here, pick up your phone, call. We gonna handle that. You gotta go. You gotta be the one to save the city. You gotta be the one to turn the key. That's it. That's all. So I got a whole bunch of people to answer to. The whole community. They waiting on this. This energy needs to be taken now. We not finna keep waiting. But then I move slow. What am I rushing for? I ain't on nobody plan, so I'm not gonna rush to jump the gun and don't do nothing. Because when you do start moving fast, you got licks and everything smooth. Then that's when hold on, who is you? And then you gotta get them. Stop playing with it. I'm not the one. We on that, we gonna be on that, and I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna get you all the way through. So like all these fake ass activists, they think how they circling gonna spin forever. Lie. Usually we lie. But that's not, we gonna end that shit real soon. I'm gonna pray and pray and pray some more that God stops them from doing all this fake, let me go to 10 walls, get 10 racks and do a press conference. Yeah. No, that has to end like OGs like you. Y'all gotta come in. Yeah. Cause then what's going on, and then we see another black case after another black case and another black case. Like, hold on. What if we came with a strategic approach? Like all black people in the state of Minnesota, all the families of the victims that been got shot and killed, they mama ain't got nothing, just a lost room like this. All they memorabilia in the rooms where they kid died and they ain't there no more. You think they ain't got vengeance on their heart right now? It was 100 murders last year. It was 100 murders the year before that. Ain't half of them getting caught because the government did this number with that third wing with media. Oh no, it's hands off. And then elections came, all they wanted to do was get them bigger contracts. That's why. Them Democrats. Let's talk. Let's just talk. I got some questions. I got real honest questions for these governors and for how long. We now as OGs come in, a teacher. You know what I'm saying? I'm teaching these kids about compassion, how to resolve conflict interest, peer mediation, talk it out, work it out. Just show them some love and some you said that before I even knew you. Like, show them some extra love, some extra care. They might need something at the crib to wear. Come out your pocket looking out for somebody. I know you probably looked out for kids. Yeah, in that situation, so that's why your voice is going to be important to this change. Your voice, and your voice, because now we can converge our people to that capital, sew up that rotunda. Like you said, I spoke on that 15 an hour say tool, they got it together. They get paid already to do that kind of work. We don't get paid to do that kind of work. We never will, because then that's when that real change is going to spark. And you starting it right now by starting this table, because it's going to happen.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, bro. Tell me something. Hit me with something. Hit me some gems.
Well, as far as like staying up out of trouble and staying up out of jail, I guess the only real reason is because I had my pops stay on my bed. You know, he always give me game, preach at me, you know, about staying up out of jail, staying up out of trouble. Don't hang with the wrong crowd of people, you know, that like to get in trouble hanging around fools. Right. But, you know, sometimes I would, you know, hang around certain people and get around the wrong crowds and stuff. Sometimes, you know, because as kids, you're going to do what you're going to do when you're young. Yes, sir. But as I got older, I appreciated it, you know, staying up out of trouble, because sometimes he would always tell me, like, if somebody started talking about, like, you know, hey, let's go rob the store. You know, he'd always tell me, you know, come back home, let them know, hey, man, you know, I got something to do. You know, I got somewhere to go. You know, I've always been slick like that, too. You know, I hang around the wrong crowd, but as soon as it started looking like it's going to get bad or looking like something finna pop off, you know, I slide off the block in silence. That's how, you know, basically, that's how I stay up out of trouble, you know. And then, I just, you know, as far as like staying out of trouble with the police getting pulled over, it's just God. That's all I can say, God, man. Because I done got pulled over in some situations. I done got pulled over in some situations. Stuff.
How you doing today, officer?
What you be saying to him? Tell him. That was one drop.
I just be talking to them like they normal people, because that's a lot of the problems with our people. We try to treat these folks like they not human, or like we try to alienate them like they not regular everyday people. These police officers ain't nobody but a dude with a gun on his hip and a badge on his chest. His heart beat just like ours. Yes, sir. I talking to him like they normal people. Hey, you know, how you doing today, sir? I'm doing all right, officer. You know, sure, how your day going? You know, I try to talk to them like they normal people, and you know, they just be cool. You know.
Yeah, no, to build on what y'all said, you know, I'll just leave it in the creator's hands of what, he was able to do in terms of me being not incarcerated. I'm 30, I just turned 37 and I would just say, to this day, I can't help myself with the clay as close as I need to, and I ain't never afraid to possibly get sat down because of what I need to do, So I can't really say, beside for, I always believe the creator had a bigger plan for me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There's plenty of things that I could just be sitting down right now and y'all just would never met a brother, right now.
I think that's all of it.
And so it's just one of them type of things where it's like, I don't have a particular, I can't say, more kind of what the brother said is, a lot of situations I could say the creator had blessed me with either getting out of the house party right before they came through kind of stuff. When I remember when my OG hit me with my first 38, I remember my father was a Marine and he told me, Drew, guns have power.
Yes.
And so I remember when I had my 38, I was over south and I had a homeboy and he was with the same gang, and he had 9. I remember we started going to house parties, and I was a special education most of my elementary and high school, so I was in general ed, so I started going to house parties when I was in 7th, 8th grade, so I wasn't used to going to house parties. My brother was, this was people still dancing, so house parties was still in, and so basically my brother was like, yeah, go to this house party, so we started going to house parties, we started robbing people, and what happened is, I remember we robbed one dude, man, I remember we hit Buddy with a broomstick, and the sister yelled out, he's dead, and I remember running to the crib. It was over right off it's like Hope Academy over South, which is like on Chicago and 24th, and I used to stay on 35th in Chicago, so we were on 35th in Bloomington, so we ran about 2 miles. I remember hitting the ground, and I remember laying on the ground, and it took me about an hour to get my breath back. And I remember telling myself, creator, if you get me out of these situations, and what happened I was going to Roosevelt, and we got into it with the Somali peoples. And I'm talking about we had it was like a 30 on 30 kind of thing. I'm talking about you was just ducking it and moving. You just hitting anybody you didn't know kind of stuff. So you just had a head on the swivel kind of thing, excellent. You know what I mean? Take the, and so and it was just a real spicy 9th and 8th grade year. My mom, I remember she came to me on some, that's what I'm saying, how the creator works. My mom literally, my mom go to church and work and tried her best just to provide for her kids. And so my mom came to me and said, Drew, you either gonna move with your dad or I'm moving to California with the church. I said, what? She said, yeah, I'm moving to California with the church. I said, where in California? We ain't never lived in California. And we were in the middle of Central California, Salinas, California, which is in, close to San Jose. And so what happened was I was like, all right, and I didn't fuck with my dad at that point in time. So I'm like, all right, I'll stay with you. And I remember my homeboy Tyran, like I said, the homeboy we was with. I remember they found him over north side behind the garbage can. 2 weeks later, I remember calling my homeboy up. And they like, man, you heard what Tyran? I'm like, what? They're like, man, they found bro behind the trash can. And so, it was just situations like that where it's like, and even when I remember, a couple of years ago, when gunplay came, stuff like that, usually I just tried to stay away from, because I never, in all the guns, I never seen a gun ever solve a problem in my life, you know what I mean? And I never liked it the way people interacted when they had guns. I never felt like, you know what I mean? Like, I seen people get punched, take a punch, you know what I mean? Get it up, beat somebody's ass, shake hands and move on, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I've seen all that, but I never seen somebody pull out a gun and people feel like, oh, that was going to happen more. You know what I'm talking about? So, anytime I enter, especially even when it started getting spicy, when George Floyd was assassinated, and we had to look for heads and we was out here looking for people and individuals and all kind of stuff like that. Like, I always was the type of person, like I said, where it's like, you really going to have to, like my man was telling me, how you rotate in some of the situations where, thank God, I never was the type of person to really get pulled over, but when I did get pulled over, it was always like, how you doing type of stuff, and, let me get on out of here. And it was like, all right, well, we're going to let you away with it till you, like, had the vest in the back, Had a thing on there. Didn't even know what a blick was at first. Had that thing on that thing, bro. I promise you, fam. And that thing was, man, no safety. Ready to get spicy, man. I'm talking about yak on the. I'm like, man, I'm about to go to work. And then, like I said, it wasn't until my lady, like I said, situation after that, she like, man, where you been at? I'm like, man, trying to find these dudes, man. She like, you said you're gonna be at the club. Hold me accountable. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna spend some time with you. Had to spend the time and credit like, man, Drew, if you don't want to end up like them two dudes who got them dudes, settle down in the credit, like I said, whispering in my ear. And if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, the credit wanted more for me and I wanted more for myself, that I wouldn't be here with y'all gentlemen. So it's just one of them things we just, you know.
Man, shoot. I was gonna say, shoot.
Break, okay. All right. Man.
Can I hit my little vape?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Man, this all good, man. Good conversations, yo. I just really like. What you think, Ron? Be in the middle. All the cameras still up. Okay.
We just have to tell everybody that. Just let me do that. Like
no. I said all the cameras. You know, sometimes they circle.
No, I'm leaving them recording right now.
Okay.
Because like this is when we get the best footage
all the time
when we're not performing for the camera.
Hey,
like I said, break time, but
it was
just
really
no
fake. It was fake time.
Yeah, it's fake time. I gotta use the bathroom. So bad.
Hat on. It's massive.
This is extra footage.
Yeah, we gonna finish up. We only got like 15, 20 more minutes to be done, man. You know what I'm saying? This is good footage though. It's good, real good conversation because I just, like I said, when I thought about this, I started thinking about, you know, just black men coming to the table talking. You know what I'm saying? Let's just talk, man. Let's talk. Let's teach people. You know, people can gain something from our conversations, man. And we talk a lot, but it's just I don't know. I never got like men together and like talk with a purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's been these frivolous conversation. What's up? It's like, man, let's talk about something real, man. Let's talk. You know, and like I said, I'm educating myself and letting y'all educate me, and just, you know, just the vibe is good, man. You know what I'm saying?
These podcasts was needed.
Yeah,
it's gonna help break into like. In Texas, they have 6-7 radio stations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We can have that, and it starting like this.
Yes, sir.
You get to rapping on, you be the Breakfast Club in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Something basic, tap in.
That's what I am. You killing it because that's basically the concept that I had with coming out of the joint. It was like, man, we need to take back our narrative, take back our voice. They done stole everything from us. They got cats running around with their pants sagging and talking a lingo and doing all that, acting like they was in prison, but they never been in prison. And they taking that business. I don't know how much money he's bringing to these cats, but same way with the tattoos and, you know, the using the word nigga and all this other stuff. They take the jailhouse like culture, utilize that, make money off of it. Like the lady who went to prison, she went to prison for like, 18 months, maybe a year, wrote Orange is the New Black, that white female.
They get paid off of everything that we do. Our own image.
Oh, yeah. They still
Ron B in the middle says that I think we need to take this right here and being influenced like the hip-hop culture, like the movie culture, like the Hollywood culture, and show our people that we can do something different than stand on the corner and sell dope. Stand on the corner and drink 40s and smoke blunts. You know what I'm saying? You can make some money actually, or do something else with your life besides what we did coming up.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So the main thing to me is to be an influence.
Yeah, positive.
A positive influence on something different.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
You gonna comment back in?
Yeah. Y'all in? Just
But I
record right now.
Okay.
You gonna edit it.
What I got to put on top of that is like, I can say this from experience because I done sold a little dope, you know. So I can say
just
that.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little. We ain't recording. Just go ahead.
But it's so much better working a job and working for yourself and having a whole paycheck every week or every 2 weeks than just counting grams.
I'm gonna tell you something better than that. Is what you brothers doing. I see entrepreneurship.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
Like,
ahead.
I was
go ahead.
also gonna say that I'm also glad that I ain't counting grams no more. I'm counting sales now too.
Yes, sir.
So like
Yes,
that's
sir.
a good thing to do too, because like, you know, selling dope can only take you so far. It can only last for so long. And if you see some of the most real top players it had to end at some point.
Excellent.
I was just watching a documentary about, you know, cartels and how, you know, they was doing their thing and how ruthless they was, like yada yada yada. But all of it had to come to an end, and usually what they did came back on them.
My deal has always been, selling yourself soul to the devil. I mean, when we came out there, we selling crack. I mean, I was selling crack to people, mamas and brothers and people that I knew. You know what I'm saying? So they utilized us, brought the shit into our community, gave it to us, and we was our own mercenaries in our community. We basically went up to motherfuckers, put a gun up to their head and blew their brains out. Claimed they didn't have to come in no more. You know what I'm saying? And take care of that for us no more. Because we was doing it. We was doing it
That's
ourselves.
for this gentleman.
This for you.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say you got another bottle?
Thank you, sir.
Some more water already?
You got another bottle of water?
So when it came to selling crack, so all that stuff they showed, so they basically bought and sold us with the crack gang, right? So they had, it's like I seen the biggest of the, I seen all the shit. I didn't sell this a little dope. I sold a lot. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I come up here get a prostitution case and never caught a dope case. So that's what's crazy about it. But what I'm getting at, the reason I say what I say is because they can like when I came out of prison and I looked around, I saw motherfuckers still selling dope. I'm like, how the fuck can a motherfucker still sell dope when you can't even have a certain amount of money on your possession? When you can't, it's not like it was before. So how the hell is dope still coming into this country? How the hell is these people that selling dope ain't been caught? Why does
You just mentioned him.
I had Dr. Raj here from Metro State. Dr. Raj, he's a criminal. He was on the show. Dr. Raj said that there's like three big banks. One of the three big banks was actually laundering money for the cartel.
Yeah, okay.
For the cartel.
I'm really listening.
Now, what happened is when they was laundering this money, they got caught. Bam. And when they got caught, they had to pay like $1 billion. But really, that's nothing to them, right? They make $1 billion in a month. What I'm getting at is like, who don't know how dope is coming into this country and where it's going and all this other stuff? They know all that stuff.
When you think about it, the most powerful people, even white people, that run these big business, they do the same too.
It's the same. Well, that's what when they
where the drugs came from in the first place. The government.
Yeah, you can't have, like you said, they have the what happened in Afghanistan being the biggest opioid producers and some of the biggest marijuana farm. And you talking about where all these guns and stuff came from. That's a lot of those things come obviously. Those are Middle Eastern. All them things, them extendos.
Has anybody seen Ozarks? That series, the Ozarks?
I heard of it, but I've never seen an episode of it.
And it's a movie. The movie. I've been watching the series since I saw the series, just over and over again, just because, like, with this TV that they have, they never hid anything from us. In fact, they put it in front of you and tell you exactly what's going on. So I'm watching the Ozark, how this dude is washing this money for this Mexican cartel. And how they're bringing, they're running dope into Illinois. The cartel's running dope initially starts coming from the Ozarks to Chicago, and then from Chicago out. Chicago's a big distribution. If you don't know about dope, a lot of dope come from Chicago, like New York and Miami.
I was like,
and something like
go to
that.
Chicago, they was dropping big boxes of guns.
I just was about to mention that. I had the homeboy who was in Stockton and my homeboy who was in out west who got them, like you said, dropping them boxes off.
Where you think those?
I'm gonna tell you the truth about.
But then they want to talk about our neighborhoods and put us down.
Everything that black people created in all the engineers, all the inventors, we have never invented a gun. Out of every weapon, out of all martial artistry, all athletics, we didn't. Somehow, gun violence is our thing. Though.
No, it's never been. But I'll tell y'all, because I'm a little bit older than y'all, that they used to stop the train in the projects. Mm-hmm. Nothing but guns.
Things on off.
Nothing but guns. That's how the guns start. You start asking me, and then you want to talk about gangs. Let's talk about gangs. The real reason gangs was established. It was never established to do anything but protect the community. That's all it was. CVLs, conservative vice lords.
That's what I feel like we need to get back to, policing our own neighborhoods. But see, the crack era and the pimping era messed up our women.
Come on, man. He trying to call me out on motherfucking things, bro.
What I do?
Hold on, wait a minute. Hey,
you open up a can of worms.
Somebody's searching for me.
You open up a can of worms.
That's keeping it real. The pimping era messed up our women, and the crack era messed up our neighborhoods, messed up our mind.
I'm gonna go to church on Sunday. Pray for me.
No, to your point, brother, all those things, like you said, are those things were weaponized against.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just making a joke about it, but yeah, you definitely correct.
Like you said, crack, all those type of things. When you talk about crack, it's the same thing with fentanyl. It's like, okay, where did fentanyl come from? That is a produced drug.
Yes.
That they in there. The thing that most people don't know, especially like people who know about them, like there's like 6 or 7 other things that are very similar to them that people are using and dying off of. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really get into that, but that's like my younger brother who's a little bit younger, who know more. It's like, but that's the whole thing. Like y'all saying, it's like when you don't teach people about the history, it's like you said, that's the whole disconnect, like what brother was saying earlier about mentorship and elders, you know what I mean? And what you're just talking about in terms of why they weaponize crack. So, when you had in the 1950s, 70% of black people were married. That was one of the highest percentages in the world, right? And so what do? You weaponize, black people, you do integration, you know what I mean? You put the, gang mentality, then you go, because once again, black people had our own industries. We had our own, we were entertaining ourselves. And then you co-opt and said, now we're going to start paying you. So what we do with Billie Holiday, we do what we do with pot, we do what we do with all these individuals, we do what we drug these people. That's why you have what happened with you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You have so many individuals who is like, okay, and so you see what's happening with the babies. It's like when you don't give individuals, and then you have all these different drugs on the table, it's like you teach people self-hate, like the brother was saying, you call us nigga, you know what I mean? But nowadays, the best part about it is you don't have to call people nigga these days. All you have to do is show them what's on television, stream what's on television, show them what's on the internet, you know what I mean? What's on Facebook, what's already on the show. Look at we don't have, like you said, like the brother was saying, Keon said earlier, look at the totality of music and the whole list of music we used to have. Okay, I could talk about going to the picnic. I could talk about going to church. I could talk about making a picnic. Where is the R&B that was part of the hip hop culture? That accentuated. You know what I mean? The energy in the room. I tell the story about a brother, and I'll shut up again. This when I went up to North to Fargo last year, 2 years. It was 2 years ago, and they had an African spot in there, right? So there was a little small African spot. But they had a gentleman there, bro, had on a red vest, red slacks on, and a red bow tie. You mean about 5'10", $180, not a big brother at all, right? So as the club started filling that, we was in there, probably stepped in about 11 o'clock. About an hour later, start getting thick about 12, right? So, you start to, as anybody being in the club, it started getting a little thicker, right? Yeah. So that started happening, right? So he the only guy in there. So what happened is because I've done security, and once again, I do security in the community. So I really picked it up, but I mentioned the story because I've never seen a brother do it so apparently. Brothers started coming to the club. He would just tap him on the shoulder. Man, have a good night, family. Man, it's good to see you. Didn't know him. Well, he did know him. I didn't know. But he had the same energy toward everybody. It's good to see you, family, man. Have a good night. Oh, get this brother a drink. Would touch him, tap him, put him in the fold, right? Right as the club, as y'all know, them drinks start to wear. So it was started to be about 150, 140. Drinks start to wear, right? So he hops on the mic. Man, it was so good seeing y'all tonight, man. Everybody out there, y'all look beautiful tonight. Y'all, brother, the energy was was starting to start bumping each other. Man, y'all look good. I want everybody to get home safely, man. We're going to be in this thing next week, man. Everybody, and I want to see everybody have a good time. Get home safe. He accentuated energy, he controlled the energy. And that's the stuff we're talking about in terms of why we as black people, African people, continental people, melanized people have done so much, created so much, or create anything or in every lane and everything, because we are the original, we're the soil, we're the root. Yeah. So there is no other without us. Right. And so that is why we have a bad side, because the world literally wouldn't even know they saw. What happened is like Jordan. You know, you had to hate the game in Jordan. If you study once again, that's why I love watching that documentary. What Michael Jordan hated what Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars did to their monkey ass. So he said, "What I'm gonna be in the weight room with Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and put on 12 pounds of muscle." And he was mad, basically, and he did what he did to him the next year, basically. And because Joe Dumars was like, "No, I'm from the same shit, bro. Take that with you." You know what I mean? And so it's the same kind of thing in regard to how we naturally are as people. But if you don't have a way to accentuate your energy or a lane to, or if you don't teach the babies that we have the dichotomy to use all your statements, and it's okay to be mad, but it's all about how you use your mad, because a person who's mad also a person who's passionate. Yes. You know what I mean? Because there's obviously no better example than Malcolm X, you know what I mean? In terms of this brother literally, was on them tweets, was out here, like you said, was playing with the nose and with the hose at 14, 15, you know what I'm talking about? And then by the time the man was 30, he was out here the most articulate. Yeah. Same thing with Frederick Douglass, was a slave and died speaking 17 languages, was over in 150 countries, the most photographed man of his time. Yeah. He literally went around the country, the world, and put pressure on America, because he like, this is the smartest dude we ever knew. And they brought him to France, they brought him to Switzerland, they're like, this is who y'all enslaving? This dude. And they like, Lincoln was like, I gotta meet this nigga. And he was like, oh, you wanna meet me now? Let me put something on you real quick. Chopped his head off and was like, bro, yes, I'm the smartest dude you ever met. This is what it looked like, G. This is when you self-taught. This is what it looked like when the God just blessed you. Bless your steps. When all you doing is just working.
See, they know that we smart. That's why they try to make us ignorant. Well, not us, but their generation back then. They tried to make them ignorant, didn't allow black people to read or learn how to write. But then they talk about how we can't speak English in today's society. But I'm like, English is not even our original language. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So with like me being a Southerner, because I'm from Tennessee. So I mean, I don't know if it's going to make sense, but I'll try to explain the best way I can. Like, as far as, like when we say stuff like, I feel like words like that is like us trying to speak our original language in an English version. Because English is not our original language. You know what I'm saying? So when they say that, how y'all say that we run our words together and all this stuff, I just feel like, maybe that's our way of speaking our original language in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
It carry weight. It definitely carry weight.
But the thing about it, like even this, when you talk about, initially when we start talking about the whole thing with, just, the cartels and all this other stuff, I wanted to get back to community in the sense that, like I said, as I came up, real sense of community. I had a situation I told you guys about when my uncle came to the door. I was selling dope at my grandma's house. He checked me. I had never sold dope at my grandma's house again. You know what I'm saying? Some stupid ass shit that I was trying to do coming up. But when it comes to, what the problem with a lot of people in this country, people of color in this country, we've been taught, educated through these education systems, that our history starts with slavery. And that's not the truth. You know what I'm saying? You think that you came off that boat, but you was here before that boat even came. In fact, there's so much of us inside this, when it comes to the natives, they understand that. They understand who we are. We the only people that don't understand who we are. You know what I'm saying?
All you gotta do is look at them people in New Orleans, the Mardi Gras Indians. They know their roots. They don't know their roots because they been, taught different, but they still in touch with their culture, because in New Orleans they was more lax with the slaves, so they was able to retain some of their culture. So the Mardi Gras Indians, if you want to know that we really from here, all you got to do is look at them.
I'm gonna tell you another
They wear
story.
big feathers and do all.
I'm gonna tell you the Seminole the Seminole natives. The word Seminole actually comes from like escape. I don't know the actual term, but the Seminole industry, they came through, like, before the English came, the Spanish came with slaves, and the slaves that they came with escaped. They became the Seminole, and the same Seminoles as part of the Florida state or whatever Florida that native, that's us. That's who we are. You understand? And we don't even understand our culture, how connected we are to this land, to South America, to Australia, to all that's native, that's us.
We real connected with Mexican people. We closely related to them. You can tell too, like Dominicans, all them. We closely related to Mexicans and Latinos and stuff. We got deep roots with them. They was the Aztec Indians. And shoot, if you really want to know the truth, like, I have a lot of people that ask me why my hand was red. I had a reddish tint. Well, I would tell them, like, they called the Cherokee the red man. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you also can tell that we're Native American, because not so much the darker us, but like if you got like a brown color to your skin, you can tell that you got a reddish tint too. Like you can tell that you.
Back to Seminole means maroon, but I'm gonna tell you something. My mother-in-law is from the Philippines. Philippines is a country that's in the Pacific, and she would always tell me that the original Filipinos look like me. They call them negritos.
That's what I was just about to say.
They call them negritos.
To further your brother's point is, black is the only color that can produce all the other color.
Exactly.
Right?
Crayon.
So what would happen is when we would migrate out of Africa in two different times, is one time we would go through what would they call the Middle East, and we would make our way through the Middle East, through a pilgrimage into China, and that's how we would develop martial artistry, and that's how that's why China is the second oldest society, and we would make our way until, like you said, into the Philippines, and at that point in time, there was a more of a smaller island stretch that you could make your way into Australia. So at that point in time, we made our way into Australia. Right, and we were down in Australia, and so that was our first pilgrimage kind of out of Africa, and so the people who, including white.
Black is the only
color.
including white.
Including
white.
Yeah.
White.
Yes. Truth be told. Yep. And so so I can mention that in our history as well. So what would happen is that is how you get to your point is you will see different people in China, in the islands, in Australia, or in the Polynesian, like brother like The Rock, or you see really darker skinned people, or you see people with woolly hairs, because what would happen is and all those people were already in Africa, all those complexions, all those textures, all those skins were already in Africa, and that's all based on your environment. The reason why your skin and all those things is based on survival means. Same way like an animal is. Like the reason why a polar bear is a polar bear is because he lives in the snow. And so it's the same with us but we had been in Africa for 100,000 years, so we had developed all those different types. But what happened is when we made pilgrimage, it was only like 1,000 people though, and people would die off, and they would stop and pause, and that's how you get different cultures, because we would stop and pause in different places in societies, you know what I mean? And so what would happen is on our second pilgrimage out, we would make our name into Russia. That's why Russia will become a very thick culture. When you have Russian people in Russia, same way Russia has extreme amount. That's why you see brothers who look very black. Like if you made them black, you look like they was a Nigerian, basically. You be like your skin thick, look like it's
from India.
Same with, like you said, same with Indian brothers, is because that's what would happen when we would make our way, and that's the same thing like y'all said, gentlemen, we're talking about. We will make our way through the Benin Street, through Russia into Alaska, make our way through Canada, and we will make our way down through California and make our way into Latin America. And then what would happen is we will make our way into, like this brother was just talking about, we'll make our way into Central Mexico, and that's how you get all them alchemists that will start happening 10,000 years ago. It's because we like this place, and we would be in Florida, like you were saying. And so we started making our way from Africa and that's how they found out about that. So that happened for about 10,000 years, and there's a book that happened. Damn. It's called the Book of Roger. That was written in 1014 or 1114. That's about 400 years before Christopher Columbus, before even Mansa Musa's pilgrimage 200 years later. Is this gentleman was another Moorish brother, and he was taught in universities in Morocco. He was a Moroccan cat. Yep. And he would look and he would say, because we were at that point in time, everything was happening in between Europe and in that sea between basically Africa and Europe. Everything was kind of happening in that little crust right there. And so we would make and there was an island, I forgot the name of this island, excuse my memory because I have memory loss. There was this island in between there that we would just stay in there, and we were making pilgrimage, and we would live in Europe and make our way. And what happened with particularly white people, when we mention white people, is an ice age would happen in Europe. Yeah. And it would basically come a sleet of ice would come over the northern part of Europe and separate people, and people would have the decision of going northward or making their way back into the continent. And that's what would happen with Africans and how you would develop Europeans and them having what's called scarcity mindset, which basically means you don't have the ability to understand abundance. Most of the world is plentiful, so you could pick something off of the ground. You didn't need to eat anything in terms of brutality-wise. You could just pick it. You could, what I mean? And so that's why most those people are melanin are vegetarian. And so what would happen is and you would have scarcity mindset. You would have what's called a speciation, which basically means you don't have enough sun, and your blood cells would change, and to try to get as much melanation, it would circularize a certain area. So certain areas would be darker on them, and they would not have enough sun. So they would have, and I forgot the last word. There's one last, excuse me, gentlemen. There's another last word that would happen to them, which would basically allow them another kind of physical change. It wasn't a psychological change, but basically all that would happen was with these brothers and sisters is they would have to survive in these cold environments over about, I think they say around, 2,700 years or something like that, and what would happen is they would just develop a mentality that was scarcity mindset, that was survival mindset. So that's where pedophilia comes from. That's where rape comes from. That's where stealing comes from. Because all those things are not inherent to us.
Right. That's what I was just going to get to. Because I be trying to tell people a little piece of history. They be like, because white people try to say that, well, rape is black people culture. I'm like, y'all the ones that go to every continent and every country, raping and pillaging everything.
The thing about it is that even prostitution and prisons is foreign to Africa in general, because if I was in a community and you was my brother and you died, I would marry your wife, and you would never have a reason for a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it was never a situation where you had divorce, where you had prisons. There was no need for that. No need for orphanages. We took care of our own. That's back to community. That's what community means. It wasn't a hood. It was community. And older, like my great grandmother knew that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we sort of grew up. Everybody like coming up. If you was old as I am, they all came up in one house. Like we look at the Hmong. Hmong ain't doing nothing that we taught them how to do that. We all came up in one house. You had your great grandma.
Beautiful tonight. Y'all, brother, the energy was turning up. Brother started bumping each other. Man, y'all look good. I want everybody to get home safely, man. We're going to be in this thing next week, man. Everybody in here. I want to see everybody have a good time. Get home safe. A situated energy to control the energy. And that's the stuff we're talking about in terms of why we as black people, African people, continental people, melanized people have done so much, created so much, or create anything or in every lane and everything, because we are the original. We're the soil. We're the root. Yeah. So there is no other without us.
Right.
And so that is why we have a bad side, because the world literally wouldn't even know that. So what happened is like Jordan. You had to hate the game in Jordan. If you study once again, that's why I love watching that documentary. Michael Jordan hated what Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars did to their monkey ass. So he said, I'm gonna be in the weight room with Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant and put on 12 pounds of muscle. and he was mad. Basically, and he did what he did to him the next year. Basically,
I watched that for real.
And because Joe Dumars was like, "No, I'm from the same shit, bro. Take that with you." You know what I mean? And so it's the same kind of thing in regard to how we naturally are as people. But if you don't have a way to accentuate your or a lane to, or if you don't teach the babies that we have the dichotomy to use all your saying, and it's okay to be mad, but it's all about how you use your mad, because a person who's mad also a person who's passionate. Yes. You know what I mean? There's, because there's obviously no better example than Malcolm X, you know what I mean? In terms of this brother literally, was on them streets, was out here, like you said, was playing with the nose and with the hose at 14, 15, you know what I'm talking about? And then by the time the man was 30, he was out here the most articulate. Yeah. Same thing with Frederick Douglass, was a slave and died speaking 17 languages, was over in 150 countries, the most photographed man of his time. Yeah. He really literally went around the country, the world, and put pressure on America, because he like, this is the smartest dude we ever knew. And they brought him to France, they brought him to Switzerland. They like, this is who y'all enslaving? This dude. And they like, Lincoln was like, I gotta meet this nigga. And he was like, oh, you want to meet me now? Let me put something on you real quick. Chopped his head off and was like, bro, yes, I'm the smartest dude you ever met. This is what it looked like, G. This is when you self-taught. This is what it looked like when the God just blessed you. Bless your steps. When all you doing is just working.
See, they know that we're smart. That's why they try to make us ignorant. Well, not us, but their generation back then. They tried to make them ignorant, didn't allow black people to read or learn how to write. But then they talk about how we can't speak English in today's society. But I'm like, English is not even our original language. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So with like me being a Southerner, because I'm from Tennessee. So I mean, I don't know if it's going to make sense, but I'll try to explain the best way I can. Far as, like when we say stuff like, you ain't know, I feel like words like that is like us trying to speak our original language in an English version. Because English is not our original language. You know what I'm saying? So when they say that, how y'all say that we run our words together and all this stuff, I just feel like, maybe that's our way of speaking our original language in a sense. You know what I'm saying?
It carry weight. It definitely carry weight.
But the thing about it, like even this, when you talked about, well, initially we start talking about the whole thing with, just, the cartels and all this other stuff. I wanted to get back to community in the sense that, like I said, as I came up, real sense of community. I had a situation I told you guys about when my uncle came to the door. I was selling dope in my grandma's house. He checked me. I ain't never sold dope in my grandma's house again. You know what I'm saying? Some stupid ass shit that I was trying to do coming up. But when it comes to, what the problem with a lot of people in this country, people of color in this country, we've been taught, educated through these education systems, that our history starts with slavery. And that's not the truth. You know what I'm saying? You think that you came off that boat, but you was here before that boat even came. In fact, there's so much of us inside this, when it comes to the natives, they understand that. They understand who we are. We the only people that don't understand who we are. You know what I'm saying?
All you gotta do is look at them people in New Orleans, the Mardi Gras Indians. They know their roots. They don't know their roots because they've been, taught different, but they still in touch with their culture because in New Orleans, they was more lax with the slaves, so they was able to retain some of their culture. Mm-hmm. So, the Mardi Gras Indians, if you want to know that we really from here, all you got to do is look at them.
I'm going to tell you another story.
They wear the big feathers and do all
I'm
the
dances and stuff. The Seminole, the Seminole natives, the word Seminole actually comes from like escape. I don't know the actual term, but the Seminole energy, they came through, before the English came, the Spanish came with slaves. And the slaves that they came with escaped. They became the Seminole, and the same Seminoles as part of the Florida state, or whatever Florida, that native, that's us. That's who we are. You understand? And we don't even understand our culture, how connected we are to this land, to South America, to Australia, to all that's native, that's us.
We real connected with Mexican people. We closely related to them. You can tell too, like Dominicans, all them, we closely. Mexicans and Latinos and stuff. We got deep roots with them. They was the Aztec Indians. Yep. And shoot, if you really want to know the truth, like, you know, I have a lot of people that ask me why my hand was red, you know, had a reddish tint. Well, I would tell them, like, they called the Cherokee the red man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you also can tell that we're Native American, because not so much the darker us, but like if you got like a brown color to your skin, you know, you can tell that you got a reddish tint too. Like you can tell that
back to Seminole means maroon, but I'm gonna tell you something. My mother-in-law is from the Philippines. Philippines is a country that's in the Pacific, and she would always tell me that the original Filipinos look like me. They call them negritos.
That's what I was just about to do.
They call them negritos.
To further your brother's point is, black is the only color that can produce the other color.
Exactly. Right?
Crayon, so what would happen is when we would migrate out of Africa in two different times, is one time we would go through what would they call the Middle East, you know what I mean? And we would make our way through the Middle East through a pilgrimage into China, and that's how we would develop martial artistry, and that's how we eventually. That's why China is the second oldest society, and we will make our way until, like you said, into the Philippines. And at that point in time, there was a more of a smaller island stretch that you could make your way into Australia. So at that point in time, we made our way into Australia. Right. And we were down in Australia. And so that was our first pilgrimage kind of out of Africa. And so the people who, including white.
Black is the only.
Including
white.
Including white. Yeah. White. Yes. Truth be told. Yep. Yeah. And so, so I could mention that in our history as well. So what would happen is that is how you get, to your point is you will see different people, in China, in the islands, in Australia, or in the Polynesian, like a brother like The Rock, or you see really darker skinned people, or you see people with woolly hairs, because what would happen is and all those people were already in Africa, all those complexions, all those textures, all those skins were already in Africa, and that's all based on your environment. The reason why your skin and all those things is based on survival means. Same way like an animal is. Like the reason why a polar bear is a polar bear is because he lives in the snow. And so it's the same with us but we had been in Africa for 100,000 years, so we had developed all those different types. But what happened is when we made pilgrimage, it was only like 1,000 people though, and people would die off, and they would stop and pause, and that's how you get different cultures, because we would stop and pause in different places and societies, you know what I mean? And so what would happen is on our second pilgrimage out, we would make our way into Russia. That's why Russia will become a very thick culture. And you have Russian people in Russia. Same way Russia has extreme amount. That's why you see brothers who look very black. Like if you made them black, you look like they was a Nigerian, basically. You be like your skin thick, you know, like, and so
India.
Same way, like you said, same with Indian brothers, is because that's what would happen when we would make our way, and that's the same thing, like y'all said, gentlemen, we're talking about. We would make our way through the Benin Street, through Russia into Alaska, make our way through Canada, and we would make our way down through California and make our way into Latin America. And then what would happen is we would make our way into, like this brother was just talking about, we would make our way into Central Mexico. And that's how you get all them alchemists that would start happening 10,000 years ago. Is because we were like, we like this place, and we would be in Florida, like you were saying. And so we started making our way from Africa to and that's how they found out about that. So that happened for about 10,000 years, and there's a book that happened. It's called the Book of Roger, that was written in 1014 or 1114. That's about 400 years before Christopher Columbus, before, even Mansa Musa's pilgrimage 200 years later. Is this gentleman was another Moorish brother, and he was taught in universities in Morocco. He was a Moroccan cat, and he would look and he would say, because we were at that point in time, everything was happening in between Europe in that sea between basically Africa and Europe. Everything was kind of happening in that little crux right there. And so we would and there was an island, I forgot the name of this island, excuse my memory because I have memory loss. There was this island in between there that we would just stay in there, and we were making pilgrimage, and we would live in Europe and make our way. And what happened with particularly white people, when we mention white people, is an ice age would happen in Europe.
Yeah.
And it would basically come a sleet of ice would come over the northern part of Europe and separate people, and people would have the decision of going northward or making their way back into the continent. And that's what would happen with Africans and how you would develop Europeans and them having what's called scarcity mindset, which basically means you don't have the ability to understand abundance. Most of the world is plentiful, so you can pick something off of the ground. You didn't need to eat anything in terms of brutality wise. You could just pick it. You could, you know what I mean? And so that's why most those people are melanin are vegetarian. And so what would happen is and you would have scarcity mindset. You would have what's called a speciation, which basically means you don't have enough sun, and your blood cells would change, and to try to get as much melanation, it would circularize a certain area. So certain areas would be darker on them, and they would not have enough sun. So they would have, and I forgot the last word. There's one last, excuse me, gentlemen. There's another last word that would happen to them, which would basically allow them another kind of physical change. It wasn't a psychological change, but basically all that would happen was with these brothers and sisters is they would have to survive in these cold environments over about, I think they said around, 2,700 years or something like that, and what would happen is they would just develop a mentality that was scarcity mindset, that was survival mindset. So that's where pedophilia comes from. That's where rape comes from. That's where stealing. All those things are not inherent to us.
Right.
That's what I was just gonna get to, because I be trying to tell people a little piece of history. They be like, because white people try to say that, well, rape is black people culture. I'm like, y'all the ones that go to every continent and every country, raping and pillaging everything.
The thing about it is that even prostitution and prisons is foreign to Africa in general, because if I was in a community and you was my brother and you died, I would marry your wife, and you would never have a reason for a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it was never a situation where you had divorce, where you had prisons. There was no need for that. No need for orphanages. We took care of our own. That's back to community. That's what community means. It wasn't a hood. It was community. And older, like my great grandmother knew that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we sort of grew up. Everybody like coming up. If you was old as I am, they all came up in one house. Like we look at the Hmong's. Hmong's ain't doing nothing that we taught them how to do that. We all came up in one house. You had your great grandma. That's what we call a big mom. She was in the house. She ran that house. You had your uncles, your aunties, cousins. All y'all grew up in one house. That's how we came up. You know what I'm saying? But we assimilation and all this other stuff wanted to be like the Jeffersons and all the other shit they done fed into our head, made us think like, instead of us working together, because collective, you can do weight in biology, a collective always wins.
See, they be wanting to know why, like, far as hip hop wise, why places like Memphis and stuff like that. And I said we winning because we stick together in the South. Like we might kill and fight each other and so on, gang stuff, but it's more organized and we stick together. You don't matter where you see a Tennessee person from or Atlanta person, you're going to see them support each other, because I know people get tired of me sharing Memphis.
Nah, that's real though.
But we stick together like that. You know what I'm saying?
That culture.
I said we need to bring it up here.
Yeah, ain't never going to be up here really until we start at the table like this and really wrap it into what, like, we got to have an agenda. Like, we could come rap all day, but then developing as we crossing these kind of paths and really getting into it. Like, bro really knowledgeable about the shits. And like, even up north in Minnesota, Hibbing and shit, you can find signs that say 1629, motherfuckers was up here. All that shit. You go to any history book, it don't say shit about 16 nothing. The state of Minnesota wasn't created till like 1700. They act like nobody was here. Nobody. Yeah. It was empty. All the natives went down south. Like, what make it make sense? Like, of course, in the state of Minnesota is the only land where they didn't sign off. Mystic Lake Casino, the only casino, didn't sign off on a date, on an expiration date. That's why they keep getting cashed out. They the only ones around the whole United States of America didn't sign an expiration on the contracts that was talking about the treaty. We not finna do that. We not finna do it. It's up. Nigga, we'll scalp you. Then they'll hit villages. Imagine a whole bunch of niggas go hit, he'll go. You done took this nigga, hit, he'll go. Sew up the whole city. You know what I'm saying? Like all flash mob shit, 30 motherfuckers gonna knock.
To put it to the brother point is what that's to say that
that's what they used to get.
Like you said, those treaties and that tribalism, that's how they mastered that with Native Americans and black folks.
Exactly. If you knew your history, you're gonna get back with the shits, or you can go sit at the crib while we out here protesting like George Floyd. It can go 100 ways. And so, like, that's the unique piece of it all. And then, like, you knew yourself, man, we could do so much in this country.
Well, I love what your point is. Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say, in what I was saying earlier, but like you can't beat the
collective. It's a collective mind thought. And this, I'm gonna let you speak. But I wanted to say something just before I forget. It says in the Bible, from the dark comes the light. It says in the Bible, from the dark comes the light. Let's go.
Well, no, to y'all, brother, point. The history is like so important because to y'all point is so tribal. There's this video I found, bro. It's about a 3-hour video. This brother basically breaks down 400 years of us doing tribalism, basically of how you get a brother versus a different brother. And he basically talks about, and they show it in Africa, and they show you like, they're like, hey, basically we will go in with the Dutch, you know what I mean? And they will go in with and they would use these different divisions, and the same way they did Native America, they would create boundaries. And because how we were traditionally is the same way Native Americans, we didn't have a sense of ownership. That's not a thing that we really generally had. And so, so us giving people land and saying, okay, you can live on the other side of the tree, brother, you know what I mean, and come over here anytime you need. That was, that was how we lived. And so when they had a different, that's what makes it, that's why we're still in a situation now, because we don't understand their mentality in terms of, for them, when we say something, we say, okay, I got you, bro. We generally believe that. But for them, literally the whole time or something, maybe I maybe not say the whole time, but in the end, you know what I mean? They're going to do whatever they do. And so that's how it's always been. That's why Native Americans, what happened? In terms of Native Americans was 85% of the population 500 years ago in the United States. Now they represent less than 8%. That's a successful genocide. That's a genocide.
They got rid of them.
And same thing that happened to COVID and still genocide. Man. Because they still ain't believing nothing. They talking about.
Well, and then look at the continent, and then go back to, like you said, with the continent, or we can bring in, like we said, what we talking about Latinx, brother, what happened with the cartel. Why is it that why is Mexico got cartels? Because what? Mexico is very similar to America in terms of opportunities, in terms of what you have here and what you can do. But if you put cartels in there, then you got division. They like, no, fuck all that.
Documentary I was watching last night, they was talking about how Mexico own the whole thing. They own Mexico because it was just crazy how they came in power like that, how they bought politics and all this stuff and just up under one leader, and he's the head of the cartel. He owned the whole state.
Real quick, and just like we came with the intro, just let me know what you guys got going on, like events coming up. I know my brother Blue always got something popping, you know what I'm saying? Just let me know what's popping with you guys and what's going on, what you want, our fans to know that's happening with you. And we just gonna go ahead and spin off on this. I gotta go smoke.
That's real talk. Trying to get your mind right.
You talking about a cigar? A real cigar.
Hey, well, I ain't judging nothing here. Whatever you put in your right, man.
I'm talking about smoking a peace pipe. Pass that motherfucker around.
Hey, brother, whatever you call it, man. Obviously, man, it's an honor to be with y'all brothers and stuff.
Thank you, man. Gratitude.
And we got another brother behind the camera supporting our efforts as
well. Ron B in the middle. What's up? My man. Okay. You understand? I gotta get over my man. You know what I'm saying? Down for day one, my day one. My day one. What's up?
So that's, when we talk about, what the narrative is it's here, man. And I don't put no other focus on what, besides for what my focus is there's plenty of brothers out here and plenty of sisters out here. We are the champions. We are the solution, and like you said, I think it's just, tapping in with other brothers, making the table and continue coming to the table, and never letting your ego or your pride get in the way of your success,
Yes,
And so, in terms of keeping up with the brother, I'm not a social media person, man. Just catch me in the street, man. Tapping in, tapping with this brother, man. You know how to find me, man. All the other stuff, I got a clothing line. Know your worth clothing, man. That's
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Check it out. Where's it at? Tell us where's it at, bro.
Ourproudlegacy.com. Yep, ourproudlegacy.com. Or you can catch it on Facebook, at Know Your Worth Clothing. And obviously made a clothing line basically to inspire the people, to be honest, to take the half.
Tell them what the KYW stand for then.
Yeah, Know Your Worth Clothing, in terms of it has 5 principles in terms of how you understand your community, because we all have a shared history, but we all have a personal heritage. And when you understand those 2 pillars of yourself, it gives you purpose and instills pride in yourself. So there's a hexagon logo, and that's not on here, but, I haven't worn it today, but that's what it is. What?
Right there at that camera right there.
Oh, well,
No, you back down. You back there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you on now.
Yeah.
Yep. So, not tapping in with the clothing, man. But in terms of catching up with me, to me it's all about building. I ain't never been too big, So
Yeah, beautiful brother. Beautiful. I was glad I was blessed when I met him, man. He's been positive ever since I met him. Todd, what's up with you, man?
Yeah. So, like I said, this Khalil bill, that's one of the main focuses. And as far as being dark, being light, being positive, that's what made me overcome all what I've overcame, and to be at the table, to come to any table, taking negative situations that we've been around, bad things happening, and changing them positive. Losing a brother, but then going to school. Losing friends in the streets, but then knowing you got to go harder at your craft, no matter if it's what it is. And so, my lane, it happened to be BLM. When I came out of college, I was so focused on my people. I was president of Black Student Union, 2012. I graduated college. I came home, built the Eastside Enterprise Center on East 7th Street. It cost us $1.2 million. Told everybody, the government ain't going to help us. What could you do as a business owner?
Yes, sir.
Everybody pitched in, Latino Economic Development Center, connecting with the people from Mexico. That was my vision. Hey, we need some help. And you going to help us. Because if we can make something that makes sense, it'd be with the original people of the land.
Yes, sir.
Boom, we got the building built. Free access for kids to be able to go in, print for free. Anywhere from the world, you can print for free right now. And then also internet access. You can't have access at home, you can come here, right up the street. We here. We close at 6. Started after program, 30,000 feet. Nonprofit. Vanessa, they playing you over at Central. Come on over here. Boom, put her in the door. Then she took off with that. It's about us all having an LLC, all having a nonprofit. And then at the table, I'll always be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. My vision to build another building that's fully owned by myself or, others. But really, I'll be in there at 6 a.m. Everybody can join. We can continue to keep building. Y'all want to build, you know where we at. Then when we get in the round tables, little functions like this, we can start doing this.
Yes, sir.
We can start doing it on a public level. We can start doing it with these fake politicians and start sitting them down all right, we're going to structure. You help lead the way, because they can finally start listening to you, because you got some lanes in it, and you bring us all to the table.
Yes,
We're start bringing, and then as we get that conversation in front of these people that have been asking for the conversation, talking about BIPOC, we need to get y'all in. We need to hold up, we're not going to do it like that. We move it in like this. As a black, you say black is a color, that's part of the thing that divide us all, is race. That's when you ran this country out. They knew instantly when you run a country, I study economics at the U. When we take over another country, the first thing we do is destroy all their propaganda. All right, you got 400 billion, what you gonna do with it? Those are tests. So you got, we gonna put this in the logistics, we gonna do like this, we gonna build this McDonald's, this Taco Bell, and this, whoop. Go survey them. Oh, you like that kind of shrimp noodles in your McDonald's? You in China doing all kinds of craft. These white folks is strategic. This was not something just thought of. So as we fighting the demons in this world, people that don't believe in God, people don't believe in a higher power or believe or understand what black people is really going through, then you missing this whole beat. And that's fine, because our agenda and our purpose is not yours. And so we here to figure it out. We can't keep living like this. And I got 4 sons. And so for me, it's just all We got to fight. We got to be there for our children. We got to show them these lanes from an OG perspective, not to be running around calling niggas. You had a dad. I ain't never had no dad. I'm loose as hell. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. So then I didn't listen to nothing. Well, the white mom on the east side, she couldn't tell me nothing. So, but now as a father, and I knew I don't want that for myself and my kids to have to run like that. It's just simple gems I could drop on them. Now they know how to use a drill. They know how to do different things a lot of kids don't do. So if we as a black community, the nuclear family, if we hold that thing together like this, or have our kids hold, since our ain't, and we can get our kids to hold their nuclear family together, that's what helped spring up Martin Luther King and a couple other fake activists that might have did something. And my whole family was from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So when they dropped that bomb and burnt it up, we lost all of that. And we got land in Bowie, Louisiana. My auntie had 10 acres. Lost it. 1972 contract, they paying $10 a month. They just dissolved their motherfucking LLC for $410 million, stealing all the oil out the land. Sure. If we even just had tables like this to talk about the land that was ours, we can go get it back. Yeah. We can go get something back. Yeah. And I got licks for that. But my whole thing is like, as we kind of entrenching on this is like a historical fact moment in the United States. What brothers was going through, they're going to put this in the history book somewhere. They have to. There's no running from it. So like, you know what I'm saying, with everything that's how it's going, people just got to find that passion, find that lane, then turn it into a craft, because we in the United States, we subject to this system. So you got to know how to know the system before you step. I ain't going to step outside unless I knew it, or unless I know it, or unless I know what lick I'm finna hit, or go get what, or do what. If it ain't executed, planned out, mapped out, everything icy, we not finna move on it, because it's going to be dumb. You might... It'd be a dumb lick or a dumb opportunity, or you might ruin it. It could be simple as a job interview. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get out there in front of that and then miss that lick. So what we have to do is just educate our other younger ones. My goal is to educate our younger ones too, how to move through this society, how to outbeat this system, how to talk to law enforcement, how to move around, stick and move, so you could just at least learn to read and write, to learn to get to that level of his kind of thinking, your kind of thinking, like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? We should be more respectful. Everything you've done since I met you has been about respect. Very assertive, straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Just telling you like, okay, you know what I'm saying, setting these cameras up. This is, you know what I'm saying, this is what we have to try to expect. There's standards in it. You know what I'm saying? You know as an OG what your standard would be. It's not I'm gonna question my standard. No, it take a certain mindset for us to elevate, you know what I'm saying, take us to the next level. Lead the fools out of the motherfuckers. They ain't trying to be intellectual. They don't care. They just loading that thing up, ready to go. Papa Molly be out here. And I know there's a lot of motherfuckers on the East like that still, right now. But that's why this government like, oh, we trying to solve these motherfucking murder cases and these robberies. We keep getting jacked. I'm like, bring us to a round table like this. On my kids, we can slow it down like that. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Y'all passing out all this grant money to these goofies. The slow down. Yeah, take 3 breaks. Go ahead, gas Buddy up so he can come gas us up. Yeah. And you get a CDE, a community development entity, and then you can turn it up for us, because then you can get the money from the state that they be dropping on the state and then giving them the bike pass, and then you drop it on this table, and then you can help fill it up a different route. And what we got to do is crack into that state funding, the county funding, because they floating it all around us as black people, as people just of the land, I'll say. Like, they got us fucked up, period. And that's why I went and got my degrees and studied the system, and I'm a lobbyist. I started it 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I got a badge. Boop, boop. Open the door. All white people around this desk talking about what they finna do. Hold the fuck up. I'm 33. Ain't nobody out here helping to stop this shit. Like, on a physically, you know what I'm saying, mentally, not even. But I get it, because we all got to work jobs. We tied down in a sense, so we still fucked up right now. So stop that motherfucker be out here acting like this shit, you know what I'm saying, we up or got something going. Man, stop. We got to unify, connect, and keep driving this thing forward. And like, as far as like, how the natives used to do it, and like how they'll sign and be hit and lick. So like, before we have to get there, before we do crazy stuff, it's like, okay, let's be positive. Let's take all this energy, because what we could end up doing is ruining our youth in that lane. So what we just got to do is make sure we're doing things right, positive, listen to our, you know what I'm saying, God, and let him whisper in our ear with these solutions as we cutting through these situations. Stop yourself, say a quick prayer. Boom. God, what would you do? You know what I'm saying? Like, how should I handle this right quick? Because really I'm stressing. And like, you could have a moment like that because it just helps set your mind right. And if we as black people are already hot-headed, I'm sure you got a limit. I'm sure you got a limit. I'm sure you got a limit. You know what I'm saying? We'll snap and we'll get busy on some shit. So it's like, let's just keep trying to bring that practice to that forefront of these younger ones because they obviously need a little bit of that kind of love. But it always started, that's why I got 2 degrees, because the wheels always broke, bro. Like, the jobs, how the jobs is when you working for somebody, it's just got to be always extra. Like, why we ain't got this space and this range for us to really grow, succeed? Okay, I made some mistakes, but still keep us on and really bring it home. And like, this is a whole play. This ain't just no BLM. It's a whole black agenda. And Black Lives Matter, you're going to come correct all the way through every lane. And we're going to fix everything. This ain't no, let's get outside in the street, play the agenda and play that role like I ain't paying attention to the agenda of this wicked, wild motherfucker white dude trying to run it.
In the court system and get connected face to face with them folks and get up in politics and everything.
Real talk.
They need to bring it to the masses and let them know what's going on.
Exactly.
The whole world needs to see this because the whole world get to see how we act the fool. That's why a lot of people from other countries, even some of our own African people, don't want to fool with us when they come over here because they see all day on TV how white people put us on the news acting a damn fool, robbing, killing, and stealing. Oh, don't mess with black people when you come in this country. They talked about a video how they tell other people from other countries how they giving them a class on how not to fool with black people because they'll rob you, they'll kill you.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
I heard about it.
Yeah, I've heard that from at least 6 or 7 East African brothers and sisters, like you said, whether it's Somali. I've heard that from Hmong brothers and sisters. I've heard that from Nigerian brothers and sisters, like you said about that video that they showed them. And I love that point, King, that you just made about the narrative being controlled for us, like you said, and other brothers and sisters. It's like you said from the whole content or Latinx brother. I tell brothers and sisters, what if to the point of what we just like you just said about if black folks was just to, that's the thing that's so special about if we were just to wrap our arms around indigenous folks and Latinx folks and people from the continent. That's why it's like, to me, that's why like they use the word POC because they understand the world is already getting more melanized and white folks, like I said, because it ain't got nothing to do with us being violent or anything. Y'all just can't survive purely off the stroke. You know what I mean?
People was the minority to begin with. They try to make like we the minority, but at first a lot of people probably think minority means that you black, but minority means the smaller percentage. They the minority. We not the minority.
Yeah, we never been.
So that's why I be looking like black people call themselves minorities.
But that's the reason for classification, because it can then make you a minority. Then you accept that term. That term becomes
smaller of a person.
It becomes utilized for political gain, right? As long as with everything, I mean, I'm glad you brothers came to sit down with me and talk to me. I want to get you guys back. You know what I'm saying? I want to elevate this. This is not just about talk. This is about action. We in the streets. We stay in the streets. We not industry. We in the streets. You know what I'm saying? We in the streets. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just let's sit around and let's boo-hoo and have them send us some money. No, we in the goddamn streets. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why we having this conversation is because, I mean, for everybody who sat around this table, every one of you brothers, I feel proud to know you. To mean everybody brought some motherfucking heat to the table. You know what I'm saying? You know, from the youngest to the oldest. You know what I'm saying? And I want to keep this going. This ain't just a one-time thing. I'm gonna try to have this every week. Bring brothers around the table and talk and try to figure this out. Maybe we at the resolution. Maybe somebody will stop and listen to us and take us up, and we can take care of business, man. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
You know what I'm saying?
Solution.
With that,
Shoot, I ain't had no business cards with me today, or I was pass each one of y'all a business card to stay in touch with me. But you got my number, I think.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
So I
want to shout out to Joe Peasy. I want to shout out to everybody that done did their thing for M and Mark Click. You know, everybody that done did a feature. You know, I try to uplift black people in my community and try to uplift people and try to give advice and let folks know that you selling dope ain't the only way that you can get some money. You can start your own business. Ain't nothing wrong with working a job if you need to work a job. Ain't nothing wrong with doing the right thing.
Plug your clothing.
When you gonna do the song for us, man? When you gonna do the I Got Something to Say song? You know what I'm saying? Drop one for us, man. You understand?
Shoot, I got plenty of music, you know. I got music videos. Y'all can check me out. Ashton Douglas, you know, Douglass. That's my YouTube channel. You know, I'm also doing a TV show for Mastermind Radio TV show, just going around Minnesota trying different black-owned businesses and stuff, you know, restaurants. Just going around the city with a camera, you know, just doing my thing, trying to get people known. It's not just about me, you know. I want everybody else to get attention too, you know. So Mastermind Radio planning on doing some big things coming up here soon, you know. This is my clothing brand. If y'all want to check me out, y'all want to you know, support. We also got a store downtown St. Paul, down through the Skyway down here, right by the Caribou. It's called Joe Peasy Wear. That's who I'm working with. That's my business partner. He's doing something major too in Minnesota, so make sure y'all just reach out and check me out.
Yes, sir. I feel you.
Everybody plug y'all spots.
They already did. Everybody plugged it. That's the outro. Everybody plugged everything. You understand? You feel me? We out of here. SF mode. About to go smoke. You feel me?
You already
When I threw up this sign, including white, the reason why I did that,
I'm like, what?
the reason why I did that is because when I was locked up in Florida, they got this Tampa newspaper, and they did this article about this black couple. Both of them as dark as you, darker than me, but dark as you. And they had twins, a boy and a girl. One came out black with brown eyes, the other one came out white with blue eyes.
Yeah.
So I knew that two black people can make a white person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you said that, I wanted you to include that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
No, but yeah.
And we still recording right now.
But the thing about it is that's why I use the term from the Bible. The Bible says from the dark comes the light. Mm-hmm. And that terminology is actually genealogy. If you look at the Bible, you understand that what they're talking about is from the dark comes the light. From black people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's just been like these little small subtleties. But it's this. But if you look at it, and you know, you could take two black people, like you're saying, have what is an albino? But what Blue and I was able to talk about on the last demonstration was talk about how they were able to take something that was grotesque and utilize it to make it look good. You know, something like a it was an ailment. Albinism, what they have is the highest degree of it. To have no color within your skin, no color within your hair, no color within your eyes, but make it make us feel as though that's the way to look. That's what they was able to
paint a picture for us, like we look bad, they look good.
Yeah. Point on what bro said about the minority stuff. It's the minority shift is to create and make it seem as if, you know, their reality is most people are people of color. You know what I mean? Most of the world is darker, like you said, and all parts of the world that are all these different complexions that got blue eyes, green eyes, curly hair, and they're by black folks or by, you know, colored folks or by Hispanic folks or Polynesian, you know what I mean, or Native folks. It's like we can make every color.
I never really thought two seconds about, you know, far as my ethnicity, man. You know, I never really think too deep into it because, you know, I'm a black man. I'm proud to be black. You know what I'm saying? I always wore my natural hair. Shit, I ain't never thought twice about having no straight blonde hair.
Well, but that's a.
I never did get brainwashed.
Coming up. You know, motherfuckers like S curls. You know what I'm saying? This was good hair. You know what I'm saying? This architect is what we strived to be because they had a thing that they used to do. Like I don't know, the 60s, the 50s, they had the paper bag test. It was darker than a paper bag. You couldn't get into the party. So we had these assimilations that we've done to ourselves to make the house nigga syndrome, right? The light skin, or even light skinned females.
You gotta talk a certain way. You gotta look a certain way.
Yeah.
So that's why I was telling you earlier about when I was saying the N-word. I was like, I talk in hood slang, so I ain't gonna change. I'm not the type of person to change the way I talk. I talk the same way everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? I talk hood slang. That's just the way I talk. I was brought up around the project, so I can't put on no certain image just because I get in certain places and around certain people.
I hear that. I feel that, but so not to take away from what the point you just made, but to further what Bo was just saying about the paper, you see that same thing that happened in Brazil, right? Mm-hmm. So Brazil got the most Africans outside of Africa and has a huge population, but what? All complexion, but they have this colorism thing going on. Nigeria, not all the people in Nigeria got a colorism. In India, got the same thing. They have a colorism thing.
That's called colonization, though. When they come in, like they had pictures of individuals, like even in we go right to the Caribbean islands, where the lighter you are, the lighter you are, you in government. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they've done. That's what they've able to do it to us also, right? The lighter you are. That you were able to go to school, you was able to pass as white.
Well, the reason colorism, like you said, to your point, the reason why they invented colorism because is so if you're a white person and you're one of 100 people and everybody else is black, like it is in the rest of the country, what you have to create a system that says. What white privilege allows me and other people who look like me because I'm raping other people and I'm pillaging other people, and that's how you get colorism. Is people say, well, now I'm going to give privilege to my kids who look like me, and that's how you really get. Because before we had all those colors and nobody was any different. Right? Like if my son was like this, my son looked like
it was my son.
That's all my sons, and we knew, you could come in all those complexions. You knew that, and like you said, or if that was my brother, we knew that we was brothers because we knew. Inherently, and from the spirit, but it was until people did it from an inappropriate sense, right? That it became colorism, and like you said, people got the privilege of feeling like they were some type of simply off of what God blessed you.
But the thing about it is where we get religion was the best part of them being able to indoctrinate us, right? Because they used the Christian religion to enslave us. First and foremost, and then after that, after they utilized that religion, they was able to use that classism within it, right? You had what God has a chosen race of people. You know what I'm saying? Where does that come from? That's classification. That's the Jews call themselves the chosen race. Because that I'm saying so I'm not, don't get me wrong. Christianity in its purest sense, great religion. But what happens when you politicize Christianity becomes Christendom. And that's a politicization. That's all they've been doing with religion is politicizing it. It becomes a mechanism and we use it to say he's a Muslim and I'm a Christian. I'm not gonna mess with him. And it's never been like that. There's no better anybody. You know what I'm saying? It would be no God if that was right. If he thought that or she thought that or they thought that, we would not be in that position. But that's the idea. Like I said, we be here all night chopping it up. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's a deep conversation.
Building universes. Building universes. Yeah, you good, bro?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good? Yeah. Okay. Man, love. Yeah, sir. We got to break bread, though. We got to go back to that Cambodian restaurant.
What it is. Yeah, man. Check in.
What you got to say for the documentary, man?
Man, for the doc, hey, look, it's up. We out here, you know what I'm saying? We in St. Paul right now. We standing right here.
Like you said,
we really want to see some real change. None of that bluffing. Y'all got to really come bring to it. And then we got a lot of people in the industry, you know what I'm saying? Chief Keef,
I was saying like, because I don't know if you're going through the
Dr. Dre, they finna come over to Canterbury. Don't nobody paying attention. The East is ready to
what's
go.
Her name?
St.
Is that
Paul
what you
ready to go.
You're getting those
artists
from?
Because
she basically was talking about the fire,
to really
how
take
they
our
were
talents to that next level.
like that. Like every white person, if you really look at them, they have fire on them because that's what they've been scared of for the longest because of that. Because the Ice Age, it was that. Like I said, that's one thing that they've always been. I forget the association between fire and Ice Age and how she broke it down, but it's always been a thing for them. They're scared of the Ice Age again because that brought that scarcity, brought the.
What's great? I love that as a further last point because to point your point is we only know each other. We humans really, and how we got here is we only really work in two different fractions. As your point is fear and love,
right?
And that's how Black people are able to create so many, do so many things, still be here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's because we done so much with love, and that's we're talking about why we in the streets, why we represent, why we do all the things because of love. And like you said, but if you can get fear, to our point of the narrative control, what's being pumped out there, what they want you out here, 27 guns to every one American,
right? Crazy.
You know what I'm talking about? But they ain't solved a single thing. Ain't got, you know what I mean? Ain't out here solving crimes. You know what I mean? You got the military, you know, as the police. You know what I mean? But somehow they're supposed to be crimes being solved.
But it's like you say, it's deeper with even with the music. What I would have wanted to go back to when you was talking about the music and rap music. I was talking about how our music is so different from any other music. We the only ones that talk about killing each other. We the only ones talking about bitches and hoes. You don't turn to a country music station. You don't hear that. Rock music, you don't hear that. No other would it be played or tolerated. But in our culture, it's being pushed. Dope sales, all types of stuff. And that's problematic, but it's purposeful, right? Period. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why I was getting back. That was my point of making it to music. Music is almost a mantra. It's like a prayer. We listen to that over and over again, and it might not affect you. You might feel like it might not affect you, but it's affecting you because you're listening to it over and over
subconsciously,
again. Subconsciously.
You're definitely affected. Yeah. And to your point, big bro, like you said, white brothers or European American brothers and sisters, the number one buyers of rap and hip hop, like you said. And
I mean, when you would think that they would like to hear us talking about killing each other. Like, yeah, go ahead, y'all making our job easy.
Oh, like you said, if you go overseas and look at these brothers and sisters who don't have a ghetto, don't have a city, when you go on tour and stuff, that's why when you see what brothers and sisters who love going on tour, it's like. That's what Ye seen. He seen a stadium full of people, white folks who was like singing it. Or when you see Trevor, it's like when you from the hood, you see, brother, it's like ain't number white folks in this thing who know your bars, bar for bar. Of course, it's gonna change how you look, cause it's like I thought it was niggas who like niggas don't even fuck with me this strong. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, it's all part of the programming.
You know, but when you do have a rapper that's talking about something, like when I rap, I actually talk about something. You know what I'm saying? I actually talk about my real life. I talk about what's going on in my community and what I done grew up seeing, like I said before. So when I talk about stuff like that, I'm hoping to reach somebody. But they push folks out here that's talking about bullcrap. You know what I'm saying? And it's done became such a big problem that that's the only people that our generation now looks up to. If you ain't flashing money, got gold teeth, sagging your pants, and talking about bullcrap, don't nobody want to listen to you.
And what did bro say earlier? What they want you to pop the thing, pop a pill, and get to it. You know what I mean? Like you said, it ain't even. It's not even. Like you said, it's one thing for
like it's not even real rap music no more. You know what I'm saying? Because rap is supposed to be like about your real life. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be a story that somebody's supposed to go on to you, go with you on when they listening.
Well, that's what also I think what's gonna happen. Also, I think brothers is we're gonna invent a different form of music. That's what I truly believe is kind of happening.
We always have done it.
And that's what has to happen because, like you said, the narrative is so controlled for us. And it's like, you talking about the most, like you said, the most popular, the most expensive, the industry that now sells every shoe, shows every commercial, is in every, when you turn on any show, it's like, oh, if you Walmart, you know what I mean? You got some, some whatever music playing, selling every, and it's like that, like you said, until we get our own, like the brother was saying earlier, we have to definitely get more of an ownership stake in those type of things and allow the music and allow them to overtake that. And that, like you said, it takes us coming to the table and realizing like, no, if they want hip hop, excellent. You know what I mean? We just need to, well, like you said, we need to have that is true, but my brother just said they already own, which is true. But like you said, take a managerial role in it, take an ownership role. And it's like, well, hey, you know what I mean? That's fine. And obviously, not support some of the stuff that we just talked about in regards to some of these young brothers, and because the interesting part of what you just said, brother, is why is it, to your point, is you have more music out that's actually positive, more music out that brothers and sisters are actually more talented, actually more charismatic, brothers talking about all kind of different stuff. You have all kind of music out. But like you said, what is the music that they're putting when you go on World Star? What is the music? You know what I mean? Like bro was saying earlier, like they don't put this conversation. We'll get 10
Cardi
looks.
B and all them people that ain't talking about a bunch of nothing.
European white dude that run that got the contract over, who was an A&R, who picked him up. What was buddy name? Who be out here with the sticks? Got the song Creep. I can't remember buddy name. Creeper. Everybody know him, bro. I'm talking about he put your sticks in the air. He just came up here and performed at Monarch. What is buddy name? Y'all gotta help me with this. The song that was just booming, it was knocking probably like 2-3 months ago. Man, I can't even remember the name of it. But if you look at it, it's just all bogus like that. This is a song. Y'all know who 50 Tyson is?
Yeah, of course.
All right, this song right here, we dropped this song, and then this is like that whole model. So I was like, y'all never make a bogus song with 50 Tyson out of Minnesota and tell us that's what we got. Man, never in my
I'm still
life.
recording, man. Shout out to Malachi. How you doing, Malachi?
Tell me when you count down. We're gonna do it. Let's do it twice.
Okay. All three y'all gonna be recording. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
It fit too.
You're wrong.
What do you got to say about SAF Mo saying white MFers?
I don't give a fuck what anybody says because it's America and you should be able to do and say what the fuck you want. God bless America.